What do you understand by rule against bias? Discuss the application of rule in Indian law. Ans. Rule against bias. One of the principles of natural justice is the rule against bias, which is described as nemo judex in causa sua or nemo debet esse judex in propria causa sua, that is, no man shall be a judge in his own cause. Coke used the form aliquis non debet esse judex in propria causa quae non potest esse judex at pars, that is, no man ought to be a judge in his own case, because he cannot act as judge and at the same time be a party. The form nemo potest esse simul acta et judex, that is, no one can be at once suitor and judge, is also at times used. So rule against bias signifies that no man shall be a judge in his own cause, or in other words, a judge is disqualified from hearing a case in which has pecuniary or other interest. Judicial officer should be impartial and neutral and must be free from bias. He is supposed to be indifferent to the parties to the controversy. He cannot act as judge of a cause in which he himself has some interest, either pecuniary or otherwise, as it affords the strongest proof against neutrality. In Ashok Kumar Yadav v. State of Haryana, AIR 1987 SC 454, it was observed. It is one of the fundamental principles of our jurisprudence that no man can be a judge in his own cause, and that if there is a reasonable likelihood of bias, it is in accordance with natural justice and common sense that the justice likely to be so biased should be incapacitated from sitting. The question is not whether the judge is actually biased or in fact decides partially, but whether there is a real likelihood of bias. What is objectionable in such a case is not that the decision is actually tainted with bias, but that the circumstances are such as to create a reasonable apprehension in the mind of others that there is a likelihood of bias affecting the decision. The basic principle underlying this rule is that justice must not only be done but must also appear to be done. It is also important to note that this rule is not confined to cases where judicial power stricto sensu is exercised. It is appropriately extended to all cases where an independent mind has to be applied to arrive at a fair and just decision between the rival claims of parties. Justice is not the function of the courts alone, it is also the duty of all those who are expected to decide fairly between contending parties. The strict standards applied to authorities exercising judicial power are being increasingly applied to administrative bodies, for it is vital to the maintenance of the rule of law in a welfare state where the jurisdiction of administrative bodies is increasing at a rapid pace, that the instrumentalities of the state should discharge their functions in a fair and just manner. Types of bias. Bias is of three types. I. Pecuniary bias. 2. Personal bias, and 3. Official bias or bias as to subject matter. I. Pecuniary bias. It is well settled that as regards pecuniary interest, the least pecuniary interest in the subject matter of the litigation will disqualify any person from acting as a judge. Griffith and Street rightly state that a pecuniary interest, however slight, will disqualify, even though it is not proved that the decision is in any way affected. In Dimes v. Grand Junction Canal, 1852, 8 Co. Rep. 113b, 77 all ER 646 is considered to be the classic example of the application of the rule against pecuniary interest. In this case, the Vice-Chancellor decreed the suits and the appeals against those decrees were filed in the court of Lord Chancellor Cottenham. He dismissed the appeals and decrees were confirmed in favor of a canal company in which he was a substantial shareholder. The House of Lords agreed with the Vice-Chancellor and affirmed the decrees on merits. In fact, Lord Cottenham's decision was not in any way affected by his interest as a shareholder, and yet the House of Lords quashed the decision of Lord Cottenham. Lord Campbell observed, "No one can suppose that Lord Cottenham could be, in the remotest degree, influenced by the interest that he had in this concern, but my lords, it is of the last importance that the maxim, that no one is to be a judge in his own cause, should be held sacred. And it will have a most salutary influence on inferior tribunals when it is known that this High Court of last resort, in a case in which the Lord Chancellor of England had an interest, considered that his decree was on that account a decree not according to law, and was set aside." In Mohapatra and Kovi, State of Orissa, 1984, 4 SCC 103, 112, AIR 1984 SC 1572, 1576, some of the members of the committee set up for selecting books for educational institutions were themselves authors whose books were to be considered for selection. The Supreme Court held that the possibility of bias could not be ruled out. Maiden, J. observed, "It is not the actual bias in favor of the author member that is material, but the possibility of such bias." 2. Personal bias. The judge may be a friend of the party, or related to him, or have some business or professional relationship with him, or may even have personal animosity or hostility against him. In Mineral Development Limited v. State of Bihar, AIR 1960 SC 468, the Revenue Minister had cancelled the petitioner's license for the lease of certain land. It was found that there was political rivalry between petitioner and the minister. In Manak Lal v. Prem Chand, AIR 1957 SC 125, in order to decide a complaint for professional misconduct filed by Prem Chand against Manak Lal, an advocate of Rajasthan High Court, the High Court appointed a tribunal consisting of a senior advocate, one Advocate General of Rajasthan, as chairman. The tribunal's decision was challenged on ground of a personal bias arising from the fact that chairman had represented Prem Chand in an earlier case. The court refused to quash the action on the basis of real likelihood of bias, as the chairman had no personal contact with his client and did not remember that he appeared on his behalf. However, the high professional standards led the court to quash action on ground that justice should not only be done but must appear to have been done. Actual proof of prejudice was not necessary. Reasonable ground for assuming the possibility of bias was sufficient. In State of UP v. Mohd, No. AIR 1958 SC 86, a departmental inquiry was held against A by B. As one of the witnesses against A turned hostile, B left the inquiry, gave evidence against A, resumed to complete the inquiry and passed an order of dismissal. The Supreme Court held that the rules of natural justice were completely discarded and all canons of fair play were grievously violated by B. Similarly, in Ratan Lal v. Managing Committee, 1993, 4 SCC 10, AIR 1993 SC 2155, X was a witness as well as one of the 3 members of an inquiry committee against A. At the inquiry, A was found guilty and was dismissed. Setting aside dismissal and following Mohd, No. The Supreme Court held that the proceedings were vitiated because of prejudice of one of the members of the committee. 3. Official bias. The third types of bias is official bias or bias as to the subject matter. This may arise when the judge has a general interest in the subject matter. Those cases fall within this category where the deciding officer is directly or otherwise involved in the subject matter of the case. Here again, mere involvement would not vitiate administrative action unless there is a real likelihood of bias, i.e., unless the adjudication has intimately identified himself with the issues. In Gullapalli Nageshwar Rao v. APSRTC, Gullapalli I, AIR 1959 SC 308, the petitioners were carrying on motor transport business. The Andhra State Transport Undertaking published a scheme for nationalization of motor transport in the state and invited objections. The objections filed by the petitioners were received and heard by the Secretary, and thereafter the Chief Minister approved the scheme. The Supreme Court upheld the contention of the petitioners that the official who heard the objections was in substance one of the parties to the dispute, and hence the principles of natural justice were violated.